Hey everybody, Riot Mort, and we're back with part 2. I'm not going to intro us because if you're watching this, you're probably 2 hours into a marathon session between 3 nerds talking about 11 sets of history. So let's just jump right back into it with set 6 and keep going with Blitzcrank. But this time, it's not just Blitzcrank. It's a different Blitzcrank, isn't it? Or no,
It definitely
is this still
No,
Blitz?
it's not Hook.
Okay, I'm about to say...
It's not Hook.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what it is.
What is it? Because it's Protector.
I'm pretty sure it's Blitzcrank again.
Is it just the hook?
I think so.
We gave 3 traits to this?
Yeah.
What were we on?
But did he start at full mana?
He had to have. Because we just went over that Thresh was bad. Like,
I don't. Why do we keep doing it? I don't know.
I mean, this certainly feels as bad, if not worse, than Blitzcrank. Than Chrono Blitzcrank. I guess it's right around the same.
Yeah, the fact that he had 2 defensive traits and was therefore more ubiquitous in the early game.
And Scrap, which was insane.
Yeah, not a smart play by us.
I'll just put it right below Chrono.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Start.
Yeah. Academy Assassin Katarina. I don't remember this
Katarina.
one. Huh?
Radiant's Katarina.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. That's
Played
true.
a lot of this unit.
He did play a lot of that unit.
I played a lot of this
you
unit
did too?
I was just copying the Radiant's build. It was,
Okay.
That's how I was climbing. This was very fun to watch for me. This probably crosses some lines around like snowball thresholds. Because it said the mana refund on kill.
Right. Right.
And there's a piece of that like kind of works for a 2 cost, where it's like, that's a really clear incentive to deeply itemize, reroll, do all that stuff. But it's just kind of overpowered. And
I was generally positive on this unit, I will say. Overall, it had lowest unit within 3 hexes, so it wasn't like going all the backline all the time. It was kind of diffused around in damage in an AoE, so you really had to itemize it to get it to pop off. It's not as cool as like the Darius reset, for example, but it is still was an exciting unit to play, and wouldn't mind doing something similar to this again in the future.
Is it better than Jarvan, the set 4 Jarvan?
I don't think so.
Okay. Is it better than our boring Brahms?
I think so. Is
it better than Twisted Fate?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to put it right below Jarvan, I think.
Sure.
Okay. Robin Song's Clockwork. This champion was always very bad until it wasn't. And it was another one of those, like, the 3-star tuning was silly.
Yep. Time flies,
Yep.
combo with Zillion, otherwise utility thing.
Yeah. I actually think we could reprint this again with modern standards. I don't think it's that bad a spell.
Yeah.
It's it feels like low B to me.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. One of the things I really like about Zillion as a utility unit is that when he stuns, he pauses their animations, and you can tell that someone is stunned even in the melee cluster.
Yep.
So he's one of my favorite stun units. I'm positive on this spell overall, so B is completely reasonable to me.
Is he better or worse than the boring Brahms?
I think better.
Better than TF? No? Okay. Better than the boring Brahms it is. Okay, Kog'Maw, but now he is a twin-shot sniper mutant. This one felt worse just because, like, Mutant did weird things to the chain, because it was just a reprint, as far as I remember.
Oh, yeah.
But it felt worse because there were just so many variations of Mutant where it was like, don't play this champ. And he was a really bad twin-shot, and he was a mediocre sniper. So,
was he a bad twin-shot?
Yeah, because, like, twin-shot scaled with AD, and he was more AP. If I remember right, I could be wrong. What was twin shot?
When a twin shot attacks, they have a chance to attack twice. Now he did gain AD baseline, but it was a very small amount comparative to the double attack chance, which when he had his ultimate up was actually quite good for him.
Okay.
I agree he's not as good as set 3.
Yeah, I don't think I'd knock him down maybe at all, though. I think I'd probably just put him like right below. Sure. A little more awkward, but not wildly more. I also give a little bit more credit to Mutant was also good, and the times he did have Mutant comps built around him.
Oh, yeah, we're fun. We're fun. So. Like the Blade Master one?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I just put him right below Battlecast one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Lulu's back.
Is this also the same Lulu?
Yes.
Yeah.
With the kicker that if they are already enlarged, they are healed now to prevent the it not doing anything but knocking up. It's just the same spell though.
Yeah. I think this is the best version of it, but that's, it's still the same spell. And it was Enchanter, but it was like the healthiest Enchanter. It wasn't part of Joy.
Yep.
So,
Oh.
Yeah.
okay. So it's just nice. We have these three Lulus right next to each other.
Yep.
All right. Vi. I do not remember this Vi, other than her being an enforcer.
I don't either.
This was
Is this just
the same as set 4.
Okay,
which
so
was
it's just the
blast
punch
of
reprint.
magic damage that lowered armor.
Okay, so it probably just goes right below her.
Yeah.
Sister was cool, but not that cool. It was cool thematically. Is it better or worse than Warlord 1? I think it's worse.
It's worse. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Talon, the 2-cost assassin. I do not have good memories of. I know he jumped to the back line and then stabbed them.
Well, there were two versions of Talon, right? There was Imperial Assassin and then Debonair Assassin.
Oh, were they both in this? Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
6.5.
Yeah.
The Imperial one, which was in 6, was he stabbed an enemy, or no, the first time he attacked somebody, he bled them, and then every 3 attacks after that, he applied an additional bleed that did stack.
Yeah, I remember that being really cool, actually.
Yeah, I remember liking this as well.
Yeah, you're right. This was neat because it was like an assassin that didn't instantly destroy your backline.
Yes. I was pretty positive on him overall, I would say.
And then the Debonair, what was the Debonair hook? It did something.
Let me look that up. Talon's bleed now deals true damage and lasts 75% longer.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah. Well, what you really need when you go to the back line is
this better than the Jarvan that y'all liked?
I think it's right around there.
Although I put it lower than Katarina.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
But better than base Ari? Okay.
sure. Yeah. This is easier to reprint for sure.
Yeah, we'll put them together, and then the Imperial one, or the Debonair one, just ends up being a little worse.
Yeah.
Seems reasonable to me.
Okay. Yordle Twin Shot.
Was this the
Gatling gun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't this spell nonsense and nobody ever played this guy other than he was a Yordle?
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
I think this might be an awful spell.
Yeah, I'm looking this up because I don't remember the exact details. Okay. Fire a missile at its current target that explodes on impact, dealing damage to enemies within 1 hex.
Oh.
This is just like a Ziggs bomby, not very high damage.
Yeah, 25 out of 50 mana, 180, 220, 290.
Ugh. 180, 220, 290? Of AD or AP?
I think it's AP.
Ugh.
He was magic damage.
Okay.
Which, I mean, to be fair, on SR, Corky does.
No, yeah, but it's more just
Yeah,
it's weird.
yeah, for sure. It's just.
I mean, it's a fine spell.
It's like a
Like
one-cost spell.
Soraka-ish in C tier, right? It's this is fine.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of weird, or not weirdness, but just I am struggling because I'm not remembering this spell. So
Yeah.
It's also strange to me because the way I remember it was in development, which was the cone for the longest time. It
Right,
was a 2-hex cone, and I don't even remember swapping this.
Yeah, I don't remember why we swapped it, but okay, so I'll put it below the Nico in the C tier.
Sure.
Okay. Quinn, this was the AoE blind. AoE blind that could hit your backline.
Yeah, I think we're in disarm territory, which is better than blind at least.
But
not
similar.
Yeah, and she was the utility mercenary.
Yep.
I remember she wasn't even awful if you itemize, you didn't want to.
No, yeah, you would play her in Challenger, and she could do stuff. She was not bad, but it was more just my backline's been disarmed, and wasn't it a long disarm, like a 3-second disarm?
1.5 to 2.5, 70 out of 140 mana, but in Challenger. And I remember people could kind of play around her as a carry, but she would fall off, and sometimes she was high impact, but sometimes she wasn't. To me, it's in a lot of ways she is just felt very too costy, and while I wouldn't necessarily look to redo highest attack speed AoE disarm again, like fundamentally, I don't dislike this utility plus damage output.
Yeah.
Where are you placing her?
Like somewhere low B for me, maybe bottom
Yeah,
B.
I'm in B above Z. Probably even above the Vise.
Okay. Directly
below-
above the Vise?
Yeah, I'm below the Nautiluses. So, yeah, it's somewhere in that.
Okay. I'll put her directly above the Vise. Sniper Tristana. I don't remember this one being a 2 cost.
This is when she shoots somebody and does damage, and if they're too close to her, she knocks them back and stuns them.
Yeah, this is a really hard-hitting physical nuke that, has a knockback sometimes.
Okay.
I liked this spell.
Yeah,
I
it
did
seems
too.
fine.
It made for some very memorable moments when people got on her and she was like, nope, and knocked them back because the mana cost was like 60. So theoretically, if you built her up,
Right,
and
but
there was
enough
someone
attack
trying to get on
speed,
her,
she'd
she
like
would just keep them off.
Yeah.
It was actually hilarious to watch. I really like this spell and I would use it again.
Low A?
Yeah, I think so. It's a low A or high B for me.
How about low? Is it better than the Varus?
Because of the poor thematic hook in for Varus, I put this above.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
But
go
worse
with
than the
very
Pikes.
Tristana.
But worse than the Pikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Syndicate Sniper Ash. This was the AoE volley. I remember it didn't really work well with Syndicate, and it was a fine spell. Like volleys.
Slowing attack speed with this one? Are we shotgunning with this one?
I think it's slowing attack speed. I think it's just the chill.
Yeah.
I think it's a non-scaling AoE around the target that slows attack speed. Like a non-scale, it's just 110%.
Yeah, I mean this is fine.
Yeah.
Yep. High B.
Better than the Talons. Worse than the Talons. I think better. Like this is a staple spell. I think we would reprint this a lot.
Yeah, that's fair.
I could even see this literally being the top of B tier.
Okay.
Better than Rakan?
Sure.
Okay. Because again, like, if you had to make another 2-cost Ash, volley doesn't seem that offensive.
Yeah.
Bruiser Scrap Trundle. Why is it half these spells? I don't remember what they freaking do.
So this was he bit the target and did like a not really big, I would say, like nuke like 150% of his AD or something, reduce their attack speed, but also permanently steal AD for the rest of combat. But it was off of frontliners, unlike Zed, who was hitting backliners.
And it wasn't
really
it wasn't
impactful.
relative to their power. It was just
Right, it was just a flat amount of AD steal, which I think we also set like an invisible minimum to 10 or something. But like, I was overall fairly positive on this because he was a frontline scrapper. Like,
So he was an example though where it's like you weren't sure if he was a tank or a carry because you could never actually make him a carry and you couldn't make him a tank. So he's one that like I think players really struggled with the identity of this champion, and so he was often just a trait bot.
Yeah, the intent was certainly that you would build him tankier, and his spell through multicasting and some amount of like drain, tank, or sustain would allow him to get to a point where later in the fight he became a threat. Don't think it really realistically played out that way.
Hilariously, in modern TFT, I feel like he'd be a Titans BT champion.
Absolutely, he would.
I think we're in that there's some similarities here. We're in like the B tier Vi tier. Maybe we're lower. Are we all the way down? And it's also less like.
I think it's
fun to
worse
watch,
than
though.
Kaisa. I think it's worse than Infiltrator
okay.
Kaisa.
Put it right under there, top of C.
Okay. Zyra, wasn't this the line stun?
The most units in a line on the enemy team, damage and stun.
Yep.
Which in a world with assassins and people moving like backline movement or whatever, moving out of the backline, and there's not as many people all clustered back there, I'm pretty positive on this general. Like, this is the first time we had done this spell shape. It felt meaningfully different. It was highly visible. I was generally positive on this, but there were edge cases that made her more powerful than we would normally allow. So I think that if we were to reprint this, we would put a cap on the number of units she could hit. But generally, Alun does.
Yeah, I was
something
gonna say
like this.
Alun feels like the healthier version, where it's like if you hit one unit, you crunch them, and if you hit 6, you tickle them.
Yes. So
whereas-
I would look to do something like this again, but I'm very positive on this general spell shape, the way it looks in game. just with modern
Yeah.
tuning to it.
I also think putting a stun on this is a mistake.
Sure.
I think that's the thing that really knocks it down for me. If this is just the line, you can almost get away with it. Like I said, a loon basically is this. 2 costs a loon without the like attack speed thing is fine.
Sure.
But stun, because like stun's a lot harder to like parse. And if at that point, if it's 3 targets, is the line the correct thing? Isn't it just like the 3 nearest? I don't know.
Yeah.
So to me, this is like the lowest B, like literally the lowest B.
I think I put it a little higher in B.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
To where?
I'm
me,
below
this
the
is
Nautilus is.
yeah. This is above the Nautilus for me. So
Above the Nautilus, below the Malzahar?
sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Sejuani. This is. Did we reprint the Sejuani we didn't like?
This is 6.5, right?
Yeah. Hextech Bruiser Enforcer. This is 6.5. Because we're in Hextech territory,
This is just a reprint, and
we know how we felt about that Sejuani. So
Yep.
which might even be worse because it's Enforcer instead of like Cavalier, which is interesting. Like probably
Yeah.
the worst of
Yeah.
the bunch.
okay. So I'm literally just gonna put it directly below the other two.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Hextech Arcanist Swain. I don't think this was the like 8. Like I think this was just the cone in front of him.
Yeah. So he was Imperial originally. Which was,
right.
Yeah. So there's
Cone, it was
Imperial
like
Swing
an
and Hextech.
it was like an Annie sort of like cone, except you heal instead of
Right. Well, it's like the 1 cost Vlad. This just
Yeah.
like single target heal. It was that, but cone.
Yep. Which I would do again, honestly, if we needed a Swain tank that didn't transform.
Yeah. Would I reprint that same spell? I don't know.
I would probably do it as a 1 cost, to be fair.
I mean, the 1 cost, the single target's just the superior version, though. Is the cone really that healthy? Because the cone has the same like min max problem, right?
Yeah,
Where you hit
that's
1
fair.
target, you hit 3. Like if you're gonna do the tank Vlad, you do the single target or the transform. We've had good luck with the transform as well. I feel like the cone is just the worst version of Swain we have.
But I still think it's like a reasonable starting
Sure.
point for a spell.
Sure.
So for me, it's like if it's bottom of B, top of C.
Is it better than Kaisa?
I think so.
Okay. So, but it's worse than Forgotten Thresh?
Somewhere around there.
yeah, definitely worse than Forgotten Thresh for me.
Okay, so it's
I
literally
think
the
I'd
bottom
probably-
of B then.
Yeah, I would put it top of C.
Okay, we'll do bottom of B for now. And I'll put the Arcanist or the Hextech one below the Imperial one. Okay. Rek'Sai. She's back. At least this time I thought no, because again, like she's a striker, so she's like a damage carry. I remember we struggled to make this work so much. I'm also thinking of 9, where also we struggled to make Rek'Sai work.
So this was biter target, deal damage plus flat plus % of AD bonus damage, healing herself, and if she's already bit her target, she heals her more instead.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely better than Predator Rex. Still like a round Predator Rek'Sai. I'm like, you lose out on the clarity of like, oh, this is clearly just a damage unit that is dealing a ton of damage and feels really juicy. But she's kind of a tank, mostly a tank.
That's the
But
thing
she's
that
biting
bothers
things.
me is like remember how we were just talking about why do we use Rek'Sai? It's like, well, unique silhouette. The problem is that silhouette to me constantly communicates tank,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we keep making her this like weird AD bruiser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like all of these Rek'Sais continue to fail for me. I would put her directly below the Predator Steel one because at least that one had a clear identity. This one, like the trait is telling you build me AD, but the heal is confusing. Like I don't know.
Yep. Agreed.
Okay. Chemtech Challenger Warwick. I have positive memories of this.
I really like this Warwick a lot.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite 2 costs of all time, I think. He's super simple, easy to build items on, fun to play, pretty flexible. Like this is definitely A. Don't know if he approaches S, but like certainly top A for me.
Well, wasn't it just on hit, deal damage? And what was the hook?
He deals a % of their current health as damage and then heals himself a flat amount.
Okay.
But then he was in Chemtech and Challenger, which gave him everything
bunch
he
of attack
needed
speed,
baseline.
yeah. Yeah, I can see this being like really high A. Is it better than Lucian and Kog'Maw? No.
Nah.
Is it better than Lulu? No. Is it better than Annie?
I think so.
You think it's better than Annie's?
Yeah, I think so.
Witty's nodding.
Okay. Yeah, agree.
Wow. Okay.
I really like the spell. I would 100%.
Yeah,
like if someone was like, "Hey, I want
I'm
to
with
reprint
you.
this," I'd be
I like the
"Good
spell as
choice."
well, and the traits made it really fun.
Yeah.
All right, Debonair Scholar Syndra. Was this also the toss? Was this a reprint?
I think so.
Yeah, because I think
Yes.
the Debonair part was like the AOE was bigger when she tossed them.
Yeah, the area of impact is 1 hex larger.
There it is. I mean, honestly, this actually was better. Again, it was a set with assassins, so it worked. And the Debonair part was actually like what made her a carry and made her kind of viable. I thought this was better.
Sure. Yeah.
Trying to find the last one. The last one's... Where'd she go?
She's B, kind of middle-ish to the right.
Oh, yeah, there she is with the Nautiluses. I think she might be better than, like, Janna on this list.
Sure.
But worse than normal Pike.
Yeah.
Okay, Jinx. I really liked this unit. I know we
at
cut her, but...
7 now?
No, we're still in 6. Are we? Wait, no, you're right. We moved to 7. You're right. We've moved to 7. Revel Cannoneer. Never mind. I was thinking of 6 with the Sharpshooter. Revel Cannoneer. Revel was such a weird trait, too. That was a fun, silly trait.
Yeah. This
is just fire a rocket, I think.
Is this reprint of 4?
Summon a line of traps centered on her target.
This is not...
Dealing damage and stunning. And gain 25 for each empty trap.
This is an attempt to reprint that Zyra spell, including not hitting the whole row, but hitting a limited number of targets. Visually, less clear. I guess if you're trying to do Jinx traps for some reason, but like...
Why would you ever do Jinx traps?
That didn't feel good in Revel, like...
The utility version of Jinx we had in set 4, which was just fire a rocket that stuns, is like, I'd rather just do that than use her traps, honestly. So
this to me is like worse than Cloud Yasuo, but better than Shadow Blue Buff LeBlanc.
Sure, yeah.
Because I
would not do this again.
I think using Jinx is like... There's one of those things where it's like, yes, champions have 5 spells. There are certain spells we just should not be using. And Jinx's traps is definitely one of them. Lagoon Zac. I liked this guy for a tank.
This is just straight up like
Heal
deal
himself.
a little bit of damage to everyone around you and heal for some
percent of
chunky amount.
He had a twist that made him decent, if I remember right.
He scales off... The damage he does is just based off of his maximum health. So Warmogs,
Right, I thought that was solid. Like, to me, like, this is like A-tier level tank.
Yeah, he doesn't have the most amazing visual for this.
It's
like
that's
really true. Kind of whatever, but
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think he's right below the Jarvan you guys like in B tier.
Sure.
Yeah.
Above Katarina.
Yeah.
Astral Mage Lux. This was this is like live right now. Lux, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, this is line. Do some damage, mostly do some stunning. I think uncapped targets still with this version.
Yeah, which is unhealthy.
The first unit took more damage. Subsequent units took less.
Okay,
but there was no stun.
Oh,
this
stun?
we do no stun. Okay, this is pure damage.
That's healthier.
Yeah,
like I'm fine with that as a spell.
Just this, I remember anything astral, right, was so
skewed by astral.
Yes, astral.
Yes. But the spell itself, I think this is better than the live Lux. I think adding the stun to the live Lux was a mistake.
Yeah, it's like somewhere in C to me of like, there's nothing super fundamentally, like, you could salvage this pretty easily, but...
I think this is better than Cone Swain, for sure.
Okay, yeah. Bottom of B.
Above those Cone Swains. I remember this 2-cost Yone. This was he had no spell, but there was what he did was very overcooked and confusing.
alternate between magic and physical, right?
Right, which made itemizing him very confusing.
Well, in this world, it would be a Titans BT.
No, because he needed attack speed.
Okay.
And he was Mirage, which made him extra confusing, right? Because it was like, depending on what Mirage variant you had, you couldn't play him or not. He also had a lot of similar items as Deja, because Deja had all the attack speed stuff as well. So half the time, it was like, because there were Yone rerolls that were good. And then he was also item holder for a Deja.
If you told me if you wanted to do like Yone does physical or magical because of SR or whatever, I would just basically choose whatever of your opponent's weaknesses are like he would be better for. So if they're high armor, he goes for magic or whatever, but you would still itemize him the same. If we wanted to reprint this,
Oh, so you would do like passive.
always does the best type of
passive
damage.
converts his damage to magic if they have lower MR.
Yeah, which I wouldn't necessarily even want to do that per se.
For
but
a
if we
2
needed
cost? Yeah.
but I'm saying like if we wanted to have this kind of idea, I would go that route instead of what this is right now.
Yeah, I think
which-
it's too much for a 2 cost as well.
Yeah, that's
this. Who was the other 2 cost where I was complaining just like way overcooked?
Aurelia,
Aphelios.
Ophelia. Oh no, he's
I'm in like bottom to mid of B here. Like, while this was a little confusing, I think this gets a little bit more credit to me of the thing about Mirage. You're already kind of like cooking depending on the game, and him having like different builds depending on the game.
He didn't
And
use
just
warrior.
and just straight up, if you were like, I want to reprint 2 cost Yone that like just has a pure passive and attacks for extra damage, I'm like, cool.
Okay. Is this better than the Lux we just talked about? I don't think so.
I think I am giving this guy bonus points for he's like really fun to watch, which
Yes.
is just a straight up statement of
That's just Yone's fun to watch, though. Congratulations, he's Yone. But like, would you put the same kit on, I don't know, Trundle? Like, no, it's a terrible. I think it's a terrible kit. If you told me it's worse than the Lux and better than the Hex Swains, I'll give it to you. But I think this is like, I would put it in C tier personally. But
yeah, this is looking C for me as well. But
Up a C.
I'll give it better than Trundle, worse than Kaisa.
Sure.
Okay, Kiana. I do not remember this Kiana. Actually, wait, yes, I do. I remember never putting items on her, but she was Tempest, and she stunned people on the backline.
Yeah, so this is interesting. I think this actually means we are missing the original version of this Kiana from this.
Set 2.
We're missing set 2 Kiana.
Because we never talked about original Kiana, and this is a reprint of Set 2 Kiana.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which that one we have to just quickly credit somewhere of like single unit swapping traits per game.
Yeah, it'd be high B for sure.
Was good. This is just the whatever version of that. Like,
I'm scrolling to make sure it's not secretly at the bottom or something.
yeah,
no.
if it got. I mean, maybe that got sorted weirdly because we're.
Oh,
yeah,
there
it
it is. No, that's Ishtal. Nope, I don't know where it is. So. Okay. Well, anyway, so I guess that set 2 one I think would have been B tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this one, but like I said, this one I think was just much worse.
I mean, in general, if you're like, hey, we want Kiana in as a 2 cost that like does something that provides utility, I think dash and stun is the right way to go about it. How effective it is probably depends on her traits at that point in time. So like the fact that I would reprint her like confidently puts that in B tier for me.
Okay.
But
Okay.
not very high into it.
How about just better than the Lux we just talked about?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Cannoneer Trainer Tristana. I have good memories of this, but again, Tristana. We've seen a few Tristanas at this point.
Yeah, I think this was the pretty simple version of put a bomb on someone. I think this is straight up like put a bomb on someone that explodes after a really short delay. So it's just do a chunky amount of AD damage to your target and some adjacent units.
So from like a mechanical standpoint, I don't mind this output at all. But from like a hey, you're Tristana, you're putting bombs on people. That's like part of like her kit from SR and the fantasy of the visualization. It like fails everywhere because it's like you put a bomb on them for 1 second and then 1 second later, regardless of how many times you hit them, it explodes. It's just like
Yeah.
it's like you're like trying to do like zillion bomb on her instead of what she has. So I was pretty disappointed by this personally.
Okay.
From like a Tristana perspective.
Sure. Give me a tier.
It's like C tier for me. I wouldn't reprint it.
I think I'm in B. I think I appreciated more of the like. This is just a simple like. Is this one cost Tristana? Probably, but
It's better than Hex Swain to me.
Sure. Okay.
So, okay, Shen, Ragewing Warrior Bruiser. Is this? I think this is just reprint again, or like AOE damage reduction at this point.
yeah.
In which all nearby allies dodge basic attacks.
There
and
it
while
is.
it's active, Shin gains magic resistance.
There it is, and that was because we needed an AP scaler on him. So, but like him being rage, like this was another like you never itemize this champion. I remember this is where I started getting really sick of like I'm tired of these champions existing that you should literally never put items on. So
Let's see. Where's our worst Shen?
I mean, he feels like the same as all the other Shens. Honestly, he might be one of the better versions of the Shen.
Yeah, I think this is better than Ninja Blade Master.
Yeah. Where's the Chrono one? Where is it?
Volibear Teemo.
Oh, wait. Why am I not seeing it? Which tier is it in?
C?
C tier?
Middle C.
Oh, I see Blade. Okay, yeah, Blade Master. So I think it's just the best version of this at this point.
You can see that.
Okay. Kane, 2-cost Kane with Shimmer Scale. I remember this guy being so weak for so long, and then finally got okay, and being carried by Shimmer Scale.
Yeah, so he did damage in a line, but more damage to the first target he hit.
Right. This was the the.
He did physical damage to everybody in line, but magic damage bonus to the first target he hit.
Oh God! Again, the overcooking. I am not positive on this Kane.
It's also like really low mana too, right?
Yeah.
Like 30.
Kind of spammy W thing.
Well, it's because he was Ragewing also, so he had no mana bar, which limited his itemization because you couldn't Titans BT this guy because he was mana locked.
Yep.
Yeah, not particularly happy with this unit.
Like to me, this is like better than the Sejuanis, but worse than the Heckrams.
Sure.
Yeah, I buy that.
Okay, Ash. This is just reprint.
Yep.
Like this just goes literally with the other Ash. I think it's worse trait wise because Swift Shot was worse than Sniper, but meh.
Sounds good to me.
Still top of B. Okay, another Braum. I think this just goes. Isn't this just right up there with the other Braum that's in S?
Yeah, it's definitely below the Dragon Soul one, but
it's still like
BS. Yeah.
Okay. Jade Shapeshifter Gnar. I remember this being fine. Wasn't it just as like slam, like small Gnar into big Gnar, fist slam?
Yeah, transform, jump to your target, slam, and then gain AD and armor.
Yeah, no, he doesn't fist slam. This is he gets a one-time when he lands knock up.
But he still got mana after that.
I don't think so. I think this is just gains AD and armor and just is a. I don't think he ever casts a spell after this.
I don't believe that.
Pull up the videos.
I mean, we basically have reprinted this on live for the most part. I guess live doesn't have the shapeshift part. I don't know. This seems fine.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell me baseline, hey, it's a little Gnar that transforms into a big Gnar and gets stronger.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Like, sure.
I think that's like high B for sure.
Yeah, somewhere in B.
Yeah.
Where would you guys put him in B?
Probably above Talon.
Yeah.
Okay. Worse than Katarina?
Yeah. In this particular version of it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Aphelios, Darkflight Cannoneer. This is another Aphelios that, like, I remember Darkflight, people made him work, and he did some good stuff, but took us a while to get it right. And it was also mostly just, like, Darkflight was good.
Yeah, this is like the 1-2 combo, like, shoot for some damage and then stun everybody that you shot.
Something like that.
Yeah. And he like fired in a cone, did damage, but hitting the same target with multiple projectiles did significantly less damage, and then he went and stunned. So it's kind of like similar to the pattern on live, where it's like a double barrage or whatever.
Yeah, with more awkward targeting, if I remember. Like, you were really dependent on the cone hitting the right thing.
Because he shot at his target, yeah, and it was like not like the four closest. It was just.
It's also very weird as a cannoneer. Very weird as a cannoneer.
Yeah.
Witty?
Probably in the still probably high C. He's beating out a lot. Yeah, he's beating out a lot of the low C stuff to me, but I keep looking at stuff compared to the Soraka that we have in high C, and I'm like, below that Soraka probably.
Okay, I can buy that. Jax, is this just he's back again? Did we reprint a D tier again?
It's the exact same Jax. Yep.
Sweet. But at least he has a third trait, so he gets to be the highest D tier. I mean, I would hope by then we at least learned a bit, and like the traits helped him. He has Shimmer Scale. Shimmer Scale's fun.
Yeah, I remember him function like all these Jaxes. They were like kind of this random 2-cost functional tank that you didn't want to itemize.
He's a problem solver for trait webs. So.
Yeah. Thresh back again. Pretty sure this is
the hook one again.
Oh God, it's the hook one again. Oh
yeah.
God, where do we put that?
It's the same reprint from Set 5, right? We're pull.
Yeah.
This is start with full mana hook. So yeah, this is
where we learned the full mana thing. So it's better than that one, but not by a lot.
Yeah.
Where is that one? See, now the list is getting so big, I'm having trouble.
And I've always favored this spell in terms of like, how do you solve Blitzcrank? I think you solve Blitzcrank with make it not pull all the way to the back line. It's still not like in A tier, but
so is this like the best Thresh hook?
Yeah, I think this is better than Forgotten Night Thresh.
Where is that Thresh?
I know, I can't find it all of a sudden.
Bottom of B.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, above the Kiana. Yeah, okay. So It's better than that, you said. Is it better than the tanky Threshes?
It's about the same. Like, I would not want to print this Thresh as often. But the other one, I'm less excited to print because it's just kind of lamer and less memorable. So I'm like, probably a little bit higher, honestly.
Okay.
Right above Dust Thresh, then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Its traits were really weird, too. Like, the whole Whispers thing. Whispers was a very weird trait.
Definitely.
Lagoon Dragonmancer Kaisa. So, this was an interesting Kaisa. I actually really liked this Kaisa. This, as far as, like, 2 costs go, this one's really high up in the list for me. Dragonmancer brings her down a little, but I really liked this spell.
This was ramp up over time, number of missiles spread between targets. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was a really good spell.
Yeah, really solid.
For sure.
I think we're in A-tier territory.
Yeah.
This is like below Kog'Maw, but above Lulu to me. Sure. I really like this spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lilia. Again, Identity Crisis Lilia. I think she was a damage dealer here because she's a mage.
Yeah, she's like a melee AP carry.
Oh, so she's not a tank.
I don't think she was a tank.
No defensive components. Basically, just nuke a single target and do splash damage in an AoE.
Oh, right. This was like the bonk, right?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah,
50 mana.
Yeah, this is more like, well, as a melee AP carry, she's like still missing like items that function on. Like, we haven't made a lot of the melee AP carry items.
Right. So and like BT didn't have AP at the time.
Yeah.
Like, she might actually be okay in Modern.
Well,
yeah, and I still wouldn't be excited to make a melee AP Lilia. So like, she kind of like missed her window, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I was gonna say I like with her rather large silhouette, even though it's like a deer. Like, we've kind of indicated her mostly as a tank or having some defensive utility. I wouldn't look to reprint this version of.
I'm only laughing because it's like, what's she doing right now? Oh, right, she's a backline AP caster. Like,
which, yes,
but yeah, I agree.
Yes, she's mostly been.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And
I wouldn't look to redo this. Like this spell, do damage to a single target and splash in an AoE around is like completely reasonable for an AP like brawler at this point in time. Lilia to do it,
I also give her some bonus points for it. This is one of the more fun to watch, like, mage double casts I think
Oh,
we've
sure,
done.
yeah.
Like, not the very top, but just seeing her go bonk, bonk was very fun to me.
I think this is better than Bruiser Scrap Trundle,
Sure.
Yeah.
but maybe worse than the Yone I don't like.
Sure.
Sure.
Zyra, is this reprint Zyra? This just goes...
I think so.
But the other... Wait, because the other Zyra was Draconic? I thought we already talked about the Zyra.
The Zyra, it was in set 6. It was
That was Syndicate Zyra before.
Yeah, Syndicate.
And I'm pretty sure this is just a reprint, right?
yes.
Yeah, I think lower. We actually, this one was definitely better for me. It still had a stun, but was lower stun duration, I think, and was more clearly focused on damage. And Whispers was still weird, but this was clearly like Whispers made sense.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find where she is. Again, I'm starting to struggle finding things.
It's a lot
Oh,
of
there's B tier.
Yeah,
So this is just slightly higher than that same version?
yeah.
Okay. Worse than Malzahar.
Yeah.
Guild Swift Shot Twitch. So, if I remember right, this guy was like great because he was guild, but really bad otherwise. I remember the kit being very plain.
Yeah, reduce their armor. Yeah, he was like very explicitly a more utility unit in
Right.
in guild.
I like it didn't really hit on Twitch's fantasy as a unit, my expectations of him. He wasn't particularly strong. Like there wasn't a lot about this that like felt good, and anything that was positive about him came about from guild more than anything. Not very happy with this overall.
Where are we putting him?
I just wouldn't look to reprint this. Like
Yeah, he ends up in C, and yeah, I have trouble putting him in like really low C looking at some of this stuff,
but
but
that's fair.
I think he's just below the Shens. How's that sound?
Sure.
Above the Blade Master Rebel Yasuo? I don't think he's above Blade Master Rebel Yasuo, actually.
Or is in chat, but maybe above Rakan.
Yeah, above Rakan sounds good.
Cool.
Okay, Rel, Darkflight Cavalier. I remember she used Darkflight well. She was a good Darkflight. You know, Zerat, you would play 2 Rels for lots of Darkflight. I could not tell you what the spell did.
She tethered herself to somebody and shared armor and MR with them, right?
I do not, and I'm very negative on the gain a bunch of armor and MR spells, so.
Oh no, she shared it though.
Oh, great. I love having my backliner have 60 armor and MR for no reason.
percentage of armor and MR, did a little bit of damage.
Yep. I mean, like I said, this is like right up there with those Sejuani's where it's just like,
Yeah,
I don't. But again, like
bottom
she
of
was,
C.
yeah, I think this is really bad. Witty?
Yeah, it's with one of the tanks that whenever there's too many things that shield in the set, one of them gets armor and MR, and then
They suck.
sad.
Yeah.
I'm going to put her above the Sejuani's just because she gets positives for the Darkflight stuff.
Yep.
Nami. Wasn't this just Bubble Nami, but 2 cost?
No, this is the
Oh
bouncing.
no,
the heal.
this is
Oh, God. Oh, God.
this is you are highly favored at the end of a fight to go infinite because you're like bouncing and healing. Yeah,
This was the start of me being very anti-support unit. Like, I was already on the train, and this, like, killed it.
yeah, this unit was hyper dangerous and then extra rough with mage and astral. Yeah,
She prioritized low health units too, so she was good at sniping
Yeah.
enemies and
And the heal was so big.
yeah.
So big. This to me might be, like, the top of D tier, but it's D tier.
Yeah, that's fair.
Is that fair, though? Because, like, let's say we took it to modern standards where it was just, like, correct amount of damage, correct amount of healing for modern. Would we actually be upset with printing this? I don't think we would.
No, I think we would reuse this spell and we'd be okay with like bouncing between things. We just wouldn't do like lowest, right? It would just be nearest or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's
maybe that's too
it's
harsh.
not unsalvageable. It's not D tier, but
Yeah.
it is not good. In this iteration.
Okay, I think in this iteration, she goes, like, below Victor, above Senna.
Sure.
Let's see where that
in
is.
C tier, above
Oh, yeah.
Lysandra.
Yeah.
Ezreal. I remember. I mean, it's underground Ezreal. I remember liking this.
So it's like
Oh,
put
no,
a
this
mark
was-
on someone and the mark explodes.
Yeah, never mind. This was like the most confusing version of Ezreal.
Yeah, I generally
don't-
just don't like this delayed pattern, and I think we did a better version of it in
Was
set
this not-
3.
Wait.
Was this-
Okay, two things to
Or
talk
my-
about here, though. There's two of them. Okay.
Okay.
The first one is the recon version. Remember recon, the trait where they would roll most of the time in danger of themselves and do terrible things? I think that version is like close to low C tier. Because like the trait was bad, it was an underground bot, and the spell didn't really do much, right? But then we had the version where you got parallel, and at least that version had some cool twists. Because you could get the parallel version that would like change his ult to... It changed his ult to the 5-cost ult.
Yep.
So I think it gets a lot of... I think the base version is like, to me, low C.
Yeah.
Like below... I think it's above Kayn, but below the Hecarim's.
Sure.
And then I think the parallel version actually goes up quite a bit. The parallel version was pretty fun. Like,
Yeah.
better than Tempest Kiana?
Sure.
It can be higher than that. How do you guys... I mean, do you guys feel like it'd be higher than that, or...
Yeah, this is also 8-5 was one of my least played sets.
Okay.
So
To me, I actually think it's, like, better than Quinn, even, to be honest. The parallel
Okay,
did a
so-
lot of heavy lifting.
Comfortably middle and B.
Yeah, I think it's comfortably middle of B.
yeah, it's another. I'll say it this way: it's another version of our or one of the better versions of our Yone Yasuo. Like you take a low cost unit,
Yeah.
but pair them with some 5-cost and make their low
Yeah,
cost.
and parallel was fun. It was
Yeah.
really fun. So, okay, Pike, he's back again, but now he's a Riftwalker hacker. Hacker was a nightmare. Riftwalker was cool, and there were some cool reroll ones. I think this is like up there with the best of the Pikes.
Did we totally pull the stun off?
Yes.
Pike stabs his current target for true damage, summons a phantom at his current location, and dashes behind the furthest enemy. After 1 second, the phantom returns to Pike, stunning all enemies it passes through. So he didn't actually leave the front line, right? He just kind of
Oh, okay.
stunned
So
a
there's
long
still-
line.
Okay.
Right, but he was a hacker, so you would often send him to the back line.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, this is like right up there with the cultist ones. Like,
Yeah.
I could see it just below because hacker is hacker, but Riftwalker was cool.
Sure.
Infiniteam Sure Shot Sivir. I'm pretty sure this was just basic Sivir. Because she would do the thing where was this the Q?
It split and hit multiple targets.
Oh right, so do the bouncing blades.
Oh,
Seems fine.
yeah.
Yeah, I like this.
Where are we putting it?
Somewhere lower B, I think, maybe.
I think it's better than the Ari that we've been talking nicely about, but worse than the Talons.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Yumi.
Oh, this is the one-shot backline.
Uh-huh. This was what if we made a spell that just went by front line and hit your back line?
Sweet. Sounds great to me. Super fun.
I mean, top of S tier?
Weird positioning requirements. Yeah. This is not getting reprinted.
No.
Yeah, this is not getting reprinted. And it's so weird too, because it's like you're like, oh hey, what's Yumi's fantasy? It's definitely not one-shotting backliners ever.
Yes.
One-shotting backliners in general is not something we want in TFT. So like, is this
It just does it in such an egregious way too. It's just like wee boop.
is it just like fundamentally like so out of character for Yumi,
Yep.
not good for TFT that it's just like one of the worst spells we've ever printed?
Yep. Yeah, that's kind
Is
of
it
how I
the
feel.
worst?
I don't know if like again, would you put this below Skarner? Come on. It's hurting Giovanni. It's like the Skarner tier.
Maybe.
I put this.
Ooh.
I think I put this right next to I'll make the same argument I made for Trundle, which is at least this was memorable.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's above Trundle, but below Silas.
Next time we identify on live a unit that we feel is bottom of D tier, we should buff the hell out of them so they're memorable for one patch.
I mean, to be honest, I kind of do that already, right? Anytime somebody's not playing a champion, I'm like, please buff this champion so somebody cares. Jinx. So it's funny. This Jinx to me is pretty low, but it is way better than the Trap Jinx. We like learn from Trap Jinx, and it's like, at least she shoots a rocket and it does rockety things.
Well, this is a reprint of set 4
without the sharpshooter.
3-cost Jinx without sharpshooter.
Yeah,
and that was what made it like so interesting. So it's not great, but it definitely is.
But it wasn't bad. Like, and the hero augments also saved it. Like, there were some decent hero augments. Like, again, if you told me this was like a 2, like for a 2-cost, I actually think we're starting to get into like modern 2-cost that like it's not the worst.
Yeah, I wouldn't start here for Jinx, but if you needed Jinx to do this spell, I'm like, yes, that's fine.
Right, like I also don't like Jinx being AP personally. I think that continues to be weird for me, but like I think this is better than Cone Swain.
Sure, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bottom of B and I'm like, this is better than Tristana.
Yeah.
Is it better than Quinn? Probably not.
I don't think it's better than Lux.
So it's right above Tristana.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would do. Because again, that Lux spell to me is like a solid spell. So, Lee Sin, I could not tell you what this champ did.
Okay, there were 2 champions that I absolutely, I will say personally, detested in set 8. Lee Sin and Galio, because they would both dash to an ally, do a thing, and then return to their hex, and that just like adds so much unnecessary combat melee movement to the early game. So I would not look to reprint either of those spells, honestly, personally.
Yeah, he was like W to an ally, shield them, shield himself, go back to where you were, but
and then hit the target. It was like way overloaded.
Oh yeah, there was a chunk of damage that he would do after all that,
and then his hero augment ended up being one of the most toxic to the game as well. Yes. This to me is better. It's like Yuumi tier.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm going to give Yuumi the leg up because Yuumi at least was kind of fun for somebody at least.
Yeah.
Lee Sin wasn't really fun for anybody. Camille. This is like the most inoffensive Camille. It's like she exists.
Yeah.
It's like shield herself, do a damage in a cone.
Leg sweep. I'm pretty sure it was leg sweep.
Yeah. It was I think it was just leg sweep disarm.
Yeah.
There was no shield, I don't think.
Oh, this is the disarm version, not the...
Yeah. And there were some hero augments that made her pretty playable. But, like, would I reprint this? It's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
It's not first pick, but not undoable or, like, unreprintable. So it's, like, bottom of B for me, right?
Is it better than Infiltrator Kaisa?
I don't think so. I'm in top of C. This again. It's
I'm
like
in
the
below the
space.
Yeah, below the Blitzcranks, above the Varus's.
Okay. I would certainly rather do something with a shield for her, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Annie. I think this just goes with all the other Annies. The only she gets one big negative though for being a gosh darn Oxforce champion. And then while being Oxforce, casting a shield and staying alive, she was way more frustrating than all the other Annies. Like, sure. I think that knocks her a tier below. It's still our solid, like, spell.
Yeah.
But that Oxforce trait knocks her down significantly.
Do you, like, think she's down into B tier as a result?
I would put her, like, you know the Jarvan you guys like? I would put her below that.
That's fair.
Sure.
Malphite.
I don't remember what he did.
Slam.
Yeah, slam based on armor.
Do some damage and gain armor, right?
Right, but his damage was based off armor too.
It was also based on armor. Okay.
Yeah, he was another one that like carried by hero augment. He would be like, sure. I could see this champion existing in modern TFT and then actually having a hero augment in modern TFT that like did that really well. So I think in that regard he fits that really well. He was mediocre, right? Like he didn't excite anybody, but the idea of like I can get a ton of armor on this guy, like when that hero augment went well, it was fun. I remember playing the Malphite build a lot.
This feels like a one-cost spell to me as well. I think like the version that we have right now on 11 of Malphite basically does the same thing but better.
Yep, I agree with that.
So I'm not like this is C tier to me. I wouldn't look to do this, but we could do something with the same inputs, I guess.
This feels right with the Camille, maybe a little better than the Camille.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Vi. So the only thing I can tell you about this Vi is she had the best hero augment in the game, which was your team gains health.
Yep. Yep.
And she sure was underground.
At least she did physical damage this time around.
Yep. Wait, so is it just the same spell?
No, she like raised her hand and slammed the ground and did it in AoE, right? Or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah, this is a 1 hex AoE, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Rather than a cone.
So gain a shield, sunder everybody, and then slam the ground and deal damage.
This might just actually be with the other Vi's, though, that like
It's basically
it's
the
so
same,
similar. It might be the best version of it, though. The traits were really solid.
I'm happy with that, especially because it kind of signals that she's meant in the front line a little bit more because she does gain a shield. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Fiora, this champ was Garbo.
This is like was it full immunity for a brief bit and then heal on attacks for the next like long window?
I couldn't tell you. I just remember even with the hero augments, this champion was bad. Like, she was meant to be a tank, but couldn't tank. Because she was supposed to be duelist tank. But the spell was not very tanky. It was a really...
Oh, no, yeah, you're right. She doesn't gain immunity at all. She just deals a chunk of damage to her target and then...
heals. For like...
Heals and she gets DR.
20% DR.
Yeah, but like, she was
and she
bad.
does get immunity through Ox Force.
Woo! This to me is like right above the Sejuani's and Rel.
Yeah, this is one of those things where she was used to solve a problem with
Yep.
the set, and as a result, is not a great feeling unit.
Yep. Star Guardian Defender Rel. Wasn't this just like the same Rel? Like, it was a reprint, but like at least the trait made more sense.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure this is armor her and the farthest unit or something.
Yep.
But it was done better.
Lowest percent health ally.
Yes.
Where did we put that row?
Bottom of C tier.
I think it's better than that by a significant chunk, though. Like, it worked out better, and the hero augments carried it a bit.
I'd put her above like the Tristana Kinnan Hellions personally.
Yeah, I agree with that. That good, Witty?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yasuo, he's back, but he's a laser core. I'm pretty sure this is just a reprint. Or no, this was the tornado, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is like a Kiana-ish dash and tornado.
Yeah.
I remember kind of liking this spell. It's certainly not like really high tier, but I was like, this is a fun to watch Yasuo pattern. Having that amount of like stun on a 2 cost, a little weird with both laser core and like this is a different traits, slightly different execution of this.
I think it's worse than the Rebel Blade Master version, though.
It's close.
For me, the thing that I like about this is like, hey, we need Yasuo to do something that is like stalling out comps, kind of signaling that he's like a frontline utility, and at least he's not gaining a shield that scales off of armor and MR, and he does AP damage or whatever. So
sure. All right, what tier?
Like you mentioned, I think it's somewhere around the other Yasuo.
Yeah, where is our rebel?
He's in C, right below the Shens.
I could see him being a bit above that, I guess. I don't know.
Better than the Camille and Malphite?
I think so.
Better than the Blitzcranks?
Nah.
Okay. So right above Malphite. Okay, Sivir. Civilian Sivir. This one I have mixed feelings on. Thematically, this is one of my favorite champions we've ever printed. It's just so, like, it's so goofy, and I would never print, like, it doesn't appeal to me, but I think for the set, it fit well, and the creativity behind, like, throw a pizza and the pizza's heal is so S tier, but we never executed on it well, and it never existed. Like, there was never Sivir carry builds. Nobody played Sivir, so we didn't really deliver on it. But, like, creativity-wise, I love this champion.
This is difficult for me because the spell shape is just kind of weird to begin with, even though it's like thematically fun. we never delivered on it. If you told me that we were going to do this again, I'd be like, but why?
Yep.
Like it's one of those things where I want to like it, but I don't
Yeah.
really.
Well,
Like,
that's the
get
thing.
why,
I think
but
it's going to end up on like C tier, maybe even D. But I just want to give credit that like it's very creative and very fun to the point where it's just like seeing the pizza break apart and the little slices heal people. Come on, that was freaking great.
I think this is the kind of thing that I would want only in like a hero augment space, though, where like the baseline unit does what you expect, and then there's a hero augment that's with a twist that like dials up the fun. And,
if we had the memory budget to like switch skins with hero augments and stuff, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise, to me, this is like below the Kane, above Fiora in C tier.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely in C, and it's like we never reprint this because also I think the kind of like joke novelty of this like works well once, but it works well.
The fact that Sivir existed in the next set and we're like, change the spell, change it quick, it's like...
Yeah.
Okay. Draven. This is Mech Draven with the ultimate. I think the ultimate for a 2 cost was a little weird, and it felt weird that you didn't want him to stop auto-attacking half the time.
Yeah.
And was really not a good mix with Mech.
Yep.
Like, those all wanted to be more melee patterns. The only time this was good was like a really degenerate, like, try to go infinite in the corner thing. It's weird, because there is like probably just a much harder hitting version of Draven ult. Still probably not a 2 cost.
No. That feels like a 3 cost, but
yeah.
To me though, it's not like, to me this is better than the Rek'Sai's, worse than the Zeds though. It was still memorable.
Yeah.
I also lost so much LP trying to make this work.
So yeah, you hit a lot of people. You must be a rated viewer. It feels like rated.
Yeah. I'm looking for reroll builds, okay? If you're looking for reroll builds.
Ashe. This is there's 2 versions of this, but they're basically the same. Was this the Q? The volley again?
This is the volley again. And it's the same. It's still physical damage. Chill.
I'm just going to put it right with the other ones. I think by being Freljord, it's one of the better ones, though.
Yeah, agreed with that.
And I think of them, I think it goes Vanquish or Deadeye, so like not that there's a huge difference. But which, by the way, we're in set 9 now. We're almost there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Demacia, Invoker, Galio. I don't like, he tanked. I remember him being very tanky. If you got a freaking reroll with Radiant freaking Gargoyle, because he was carried by the trait pretty significantly.
Yeah, he huddled over, put up a shield, took less damage, healed over time, and then did damage at the end of it. If you're like, hey, I want to do a tanky 2-cost Galio frontliner again, I'm like, yeah, we can do it, but like it's not exciting. So like it functions, but yeah.
How about putting it right with the boring Brahms and B?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think above them though. I think I think for Galio, I think it's above them. Okay. Zon, Gunnar, Jinx. I remember liking this champion a lot.
Oh, this is the quickly fire a bunch of rockets at
random targets within
like a few targets within like pseudo AoE.
I
love this stuff.
Yeah, I remember liking this a lot to the point where like this is high up on my list.
Yeah, I like this a lot. Would definitely reprint this.
Any tiering?
This might be just A tier somewhere.
I think it's A tier. Like, yeah. This is a good spell.
Is it better than Blitzcrank?
More reprintable.
I don't think it quite hits like Lucian, for example. So
better than Kog'Maw?
It's near Kog'Maw. Above or below, don't know.
Okay, I'll put it directly below Kog'Maw.
Cool.
Void, Bastion, Kassadin. I remember this being so forgettable. Like of all the Bastions of all the Void, he was the one that you just like, he existed.
Gain a shield and disarm and a cone. It's similar to Camille, the other one that does the same thing basically. But at least this guy gained a shield.
Okay. Trying to remember where Camille ended up. Camille ended up pretty low.
Cassidy's one of those guys who we just keep doing weird like frontliner.
Yeah, I mean
tanky
he's
stuff
become
on.
a frontliner in TFT.
And if you're gonna give him a spell at 2 cost, I'm like, this is reasonable to do. So it's probably like bottom of B. It's kind of like similar to Swain for me.
I found it. So better than Malphite, but worse than Laser Core Yasuo.
Sure.
Witty, does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay. Kled, Noxus Yordle Slayer. Now, this one to me is nonsense. I mean, it has the problem of being a set 9 Yordle, which was already nonsense, but you know how many times I tried to make Yordle reroll 4-star Kled work, and it was just not, like, this was so bad.
Yeah, I don't think this package ever came together
No.
in a way that was fun or appreciable,
No.
and I would not look to reprint this at all.
I think this is below the Jax's, but above Cloud Yasuo.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I like how the Jax's are like the guardians of D tier. Nefiri, this one was okay, but propped up a lot by Darkin.
That was the point, though. To be fair,
Yeah.
is that it, like kind of like a lot of our like 1/5, 2/5
Yeah,
tricks
yeah.
or whatever. Like if you look at her spell in isolation, it's like big
Yeah,
whoop,
it's
like so boring. This is maybe not even, hardly even a 1 cost.
it felt
But then,
overcooked in isolation.
and then you like look at the Darken bonus, and you're like, oh, well now I get why I want to work with
yeah,
this.
and
So,
I think it gets a lot of credit for that for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, and not to the point where it's above the parallel Ezreal trying to do the same thing. I think this is a worse execution of that.
Agreed.
But
For me, it's like it's above the Swains in B tier. It's considering the package of Darken.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's above the Trist even.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Kiana. She's back. Now she's an Ishtal Slayer. I think it's just the same kid, isn't it?
Oh, I disliked. So she had a much wider, I think, hitbox.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And the first target hit was stunned for 1.5 seconds, and everyone else was for 0.5 seconds.
Ugh.
And anytime we have a 0.5 second stun in TFT, I'm like, why does this exist?
Yeah.
So I wasn't a big fan of this one personally.
yeah,
Somewhere in C probably. Like it's not like the worst thing in the world, but I'm not looking to reprint this right away.
Is it better than Laser Core Yasuo?
No.
Is it better than Camille?
Somewhere around there.
Okay, I'll go right below Camille. Ionia Set Juggernaut. This is another punchy one, wasn't it?
No, this is
this is the
Facebreaker.
grab stun thing.
I love this spell. He is an AP bruiser that stalls the fight out a bit, so that kind of functions as a tank alongside Aurelia. They kind of like didn't have a real tank until 4, and so the pair of them worked really well together. And this is A tier for me. I really like the spell. It's well visualized.
Interesting.
Yeah, it does exactly what you want it to do, whether you like choose to itemize them or not. Like
Okay.
I was very happy with this.
Witty?
yeah. I remember this being a little bit more awkward feeling, but I
remember being pretty buggy, but like when it worked, it worked well.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
So maybe there's to clean this up, and yeah.
I think there's a version of it that could work. I think it's worse than the Ashes, though. I don't think it gets to be like A tier.
Okay, that's fair.
For sure.
I think is it better than the Jarvan you like? The Keeper Jarvan?
It's around there, yeah.
I think it is better, assuming he's functioning properly.
Okay, I'll put it just above that, but below the Nautilus.
Cool.
All right, we got 4 more rows left. We're getting there. Invoker Targon Soraka. I mean, Tarek drags this down for me so much. Was this spell the like raining of heal stars or whatever?
It was you healed a target, and then they would basically had an infusion on them
right,
that
and then they would
deal
do the
damage
stars year
slowly over
round.
time.
Right.
Which I mean, if you're gonna take Soraka and say she wants to heal but needs a damage component, like I'm pretty okay with this because the alternative is to do like AoE damage around them, which has its own problems.
Yeah, I think
So-
the spell is fine. I think
Yeah.
Targon was the problem. Like, if
I
you
agree
deleted
with that.
Targon, it might actually be totally fine.
100% agree. So I'm like this is a good spell somewhere in B for me, top of B probably.
Yeah, it's below the Ashes for me, probably below. Yeah, below the set that we just placed, even, but not by much.
It's right below set is fine, I think.
How about below Jarvan, above Annie?
Sure.
Swain, Noxus, Strategist, Sorcerer. This was the transformy one, right?
There's two. We had two versions of Swain because it got reworked at some point. One of
Oh,
them stacked
right.
permanently and one didn't. The later version stacked infinitely, and I think that was the better version of him, which is why we reworked him.
Right. I
but
mean, we judge off the end, so.
Yes, which I liked a lot more, and I thought was a really great spell and,
Yeah.
and really fun to watch. So
Yeah, I mean, we basically started copying it, right? Like, Garen was essentially a Swain reprint.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think the spell shape ended up in a good spot to the point where it might even be, like, A tier.
yeah, I would 100% redo this again for a Swain frontliner.
Like,
Yeah, it's like around the Annies. This is just like another new 2-cost tank profile.
I'll put it directly below the Annies. I think the Annies get more credit because they're the Annies, but...
No.
Sure.
Talia, I hated the spell.
I love Talia so much. It never worked. But the concept of a 2-cost or any unit that has a passive that then encourages you to do a new
God,
build
I forgot about that part.
that is not linked to the trait web in any way, shape, or form is phenomenally interesting to me. And I wish we kind of reserved one unit per set or so to kind of explore this.
Yeah, she gets credit for that, for sure. I agree with you there.
Would I redo specifically this Talia in a set just for the sake of it? No. Would I redo what Talia is trying to do at a 2-cost again? 100%. So that's kind of the...
Is she better than set 1 Ari?
I think so.
Witty?
I would put her below, but I think that we're in the ballpark.
How about right below that then? I think she's better than Twisted Fate.
Sure.
I think she's more interesting than Twisted Fate. Less, so...
This reminds me of kind of the conversation we had about Kale and the 1-cost thing, where it's like there is a fundamental idea here that is like an S tier idea, but is pulled down by the execution.
Yep, agree. Teemo, why don't I remember what this Teemo did? Was this just the dot again? Because he's a multi... No, this was throw the shroom, wasn't it?
He throws a shroom, and the 4-star Yordle bonus was the
shroom was
Giga
big,
shroom.
right?
Yeah,
which was fun. Like, of the Yordles, he was probably the most fun Yordle. Yeah. But, like, he struggled to work. But this still feels like a solid B-tier spell.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of like set 4 Teemo, just he didn't blind. He wounded instead, which is the right way to go with that. I think. So, yeah, I like him. I do again.
Is it better than Ash?
Don't think so. I also generally disfavor these like shorter dots. I think either doing like longer brand dot.
Right. If you're gonna dot, it should be like 7 seconds or longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think it's better than like the Gnar though.
I was gonna say below Katarina, above Gnar.
Yeah,
was like
perfect.
What I was thinking. So
perfect. Twisted Fate. Okay, this champion in isolation might be totally fine. In the same set as Talia and Vel'Koz was nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And not to mention, the multicaster patch and everything. Like, I don't have a lot positive to say about this. But again, in isolation, a 2-cost TF that throws the... Sure, fine.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of this, like, throw something at somebody and after a delay do damage.
Yeah.
Oh, right. That was weird,
delay
too.
Feels...
What you're doing is taking like a package of like 100% and doing 50% at different times, and you get to appreciate neither of them.
Yeah,
I just
agree with that.
I don't like that.
Agree with that completely.
It's kind of the problem I had with Tristana, the one that threw the bomb that then exploded.
Yeah.
It's like you're separating out. So I'm not big on this one. This is like comfortably like low C tier for me.
I think it's...
Yeah, and I put... Where did we put Tristana? Because I put it lower than the Tristana. At least Tristana's like, it's a bomb, it delays, it explodes.
Oh, the Tristana is actually pretty high up there. But I think this is worse than Pizza Sivir, but better than Oxforce Fiora.
Okay. Yeah.
Sure.
Piltover Bruiser Vi. She was a Piltover.
Is it a reprint?
I think this was just like shield and punch. I think it was like really basic.
Oh, I think it's a reprint of the previous set, maybe.
The Underground Vi?
The
Slam
Ground.
Okay, so it's literally just the same thing.
Yeah.
Scrolling. Where was she?
Bottom of B.
Oh, there she is. I think she's the worst version with worse traits. So
I agree.
Okay, Warwick. This is not as good as Challenger Warwick, but it's close. It was fun.
There's a fundamental problem I have with this Warwick, which is that he on a delay stuns people. So he goes into a mode for
Oh,
2.5
right.
seconds and then at the end does the stun. And that really should have been flipped. It should have been
Yeah.
stun people, and then go sicko mode. And I think that actually knocks a lot off of this design.
He
but
did
it's
have
an
the
easy
fun
fix.
hero augment too, though. The fun hero augment was really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so worse than the Ashes.
Yeah.
I think this is actually pretty low B tier.
Agreed.
Slightly worse than the Bombs, but better than Star Guardian Ari.
For me, it's below the Vise, personally.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Witty?
Yeah, I don't think I go that low. I think I'm above the Nautiluses.
Sure.
I think it's worse than Parallel Ezreal, though. How about right below Parallel Ezreal?
Sure.
Is that fair, Witty?
Where is he? I think I have him misplaced, actually.
It goes the Threshes, including Ocean Thresh, then Sentinel Assassin Pike, and then Parallel Ezreal.
Oh, sure. Yeah, okay.
And then so it gets right before Quinn, Mercenary Quinn.
Yeah.
Okay. Ionia Rogue Slayer Zed. This feels like one of the more boring versions of Zed. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It existed, and it was overshadowed by all the other Ionia stuff. So.
Yeah. I mean, we could do it again. We might have better options if we do it again. It's like somewhere in C tier. It's like I wouldn't look to reprint this, but it's not the end of the world.
I think it's better than the Yone, but worse than the Kaisa.
Sure.
Yeah, agree.
Okay, and now we've made it to set 10. This is like recent stuff. If we can't remember this, then we're just getting too old and our memories don't work, because this is easy stuff.
Are we working far enough in the future? That,
I know, but like we just got done with this.
That's right.
Twitch. So, okay, go ahead. You first.
I like this spell a lot more than most people do, and so I will be the contrarian most likely in this.
Okay.
So, but
I what it could have been.
I really appreciate units that can be itemized flexibly, especially in the early game, because they become an item holder for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Twitch was in this space roughly on and off for a while, and I found it hilarious that double Hodge whatever was a build on him frontline, not something that we should support per se.
Yeah.
The visuals of it were fine. The fact that he did some hybrid is reasonable for Twitch and reasonable for the visuals of the spell, very painterly. Overall, I was actually quite happy with the core of this. I don't think it ever got to where I would have liked it to be.
Yep.
He's also losing some points for Punk is still representative a bit of a problem with these low cost reroll comps of you need to have enough champions to have them function, but usually one or two of them feels like they get left out in some way, and he was that. And yeah, you'd have to have some weird circumstances to actually make this this was very leaning into the Punk theme, and
I think he's better than Cannoneer Tristana, but worse than Neferi.
Sure.
Yeah, I can buy that.
Aphelios. I have a sore spot for Aphelios. I like this champion. He was never a functional carry, but he felt like he was doing what a 2-cost with an econ trait was supposed to do. I like this guy.
This spell is a worse version of the Sniper Yordle Tristana, of these 2 costs that do they have a pretty expensive spell. AD hits really hard, and this is a decent execution of that. I liked having a stun, and fitting into Heartsteel I think was you were happy with this. So I would do a version of it again. I wouldn't rush to do it, so it's somewhere in B tier, but
same.
I think it's better than the other Aphelios, the Moonlight Aphelios. I'm just giving a starting point here.
Way less problems.
That's fair. That is totally fair.
I think it's worse than Star Guardian Ari
and Pike. Yeah, so I put it right above Debonair Syndrome. Maybe.
Okay, great. I'm down. Bard. I think this was carried by the headliner, and I think without the headliner, it was pretty meh.
Yeah, I like wouldn't rush to do this kind of bard again. I did dislike it. Like
Yeah, I thought it
we're
was
at the
fine.
bottom of B tier somewhere, but
I think it's better than Thresh, but worse than the Fury. Or better than Twitch. I can't talk. Better than Twitch.
yeah, okay.
Garen. I mean, it's Swain again, right? Like, we literally just reprinted Swain.
So, but you can't just take a package that functions on one unit and put it on another and expect the same results, like, visually. Like, Garen did not sell the fantasy like a Transform Swain did. I did not like this spell very much at all.
Okay.
Personally, this is like C tier. Please don't do this again on Garen. Kind of was where I'm at.
As we literally have it on the Hero Augment at 11.
I mean, well, Hero Augment's a different space.
No,
so
I
you get to
know,
be a little more
but
transformative.
it's
But like as a
funny.
baseline, if you were like, should I do this on Garen again? I'd be like, no, please don't. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't drop it down a lot, but yeah, it's kind of bending over backwards.
Can
to
it be
make
the
work
top of
Garen.
C tier? Like,
Sure.
better than the Kaisa, I think.
Yeah.
I still think it's better than the frickin' Cone Hex Swains, but whatever. It's fine.
We could drop the Swains as well. So
Yeah. Actually, I might drop the Cone Swains. Can they? Oh, so it's the top of C is now Garen, Arcanist Imperial Swain, Hextech Arcanist Swain, and then Kaisa.
all right,
With Tristana now being the bottom of B tier.
cool.
Okay. Gnar. Pentakill, Superfan, Mosher, Gnar.
Oh, there was something so weird about Gnar with his headliner and like not being able to gain value from his AP.
Yeah.
that was not great. But
I thought it was an okay spell. It just, the headliner was dumb.
Yeah, and I think this was better than like. I think you were misremembering. This is the Jadenar, but he gets to do the like chunky slam that is satisfying.
Yeah.
So we're in high A tier. Maybe we just put it above that Nar to just show the comparison. They're both good.
Is it? Yeah, I think that's fair. Gragas. This spell is garbage. Yep.
Yeah, this did not work. This is like just worse than a version of Chug Jug in terms of animation. There's still some like it really wanted to scale with AP, but it really didn't want to scale with AP. Like both are damned if you do, damned if you don't. So
I think it's better than Trap Jinx.
Oh yeah,
but worse than Kled.
Yeah, let's see where's Kled.
We're in D tier. So it's Cloud Yasuo, Kled, then Jinx. I think it's worse than Kled, but better than Jinx.
I might even put him at the top.
I think he's worse than the Jaxes.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I think right under Jinx is reasonable to me.
Okay.
Right above Jinx.
Sorry, right above Jinx.
Yeah. Okay.
This just was not it. Like, and to be fair, this is one of the last units that got like kind of modified in the set and had to work around so many other things because he was triple traded, and it's so dangerous to have a unit like you're triple traded and you can't do this, or this.
No AP scaler for you. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, EDM Mosher Jax. This one's weird because like he worked sometimes and didn't work most of the other times.
Yeah, all of the EDM units ended up being like so volatile that like and their kits, like there's weirdness in this kit, but a lot of it is to make EDM make sense.
Yep.
So let's see, is there something that's in like memorable but like Sivir's not a good comparison in terms of like it doesn't hit nearly the thematic bar, but I think more pieces of it worked that I would put it around there.
I think it's directly below the Hekrams, above the original Ezreal.
Let's see.
Low C, because I think it's better than Kayn. I think it's better than Ezreal, but I think it's worse than the Hekrams.
Sure. Yep.
Okay. Kaisa, KDA Big Shot. If you ignore the power of this, I liked this unit a lot.
I liked the version we had in development more than the one that shipped, but I understand why we couldn't ship the one we had in development.
Remind me which one that one was.
She would maneuver to an ideal position to snipe the furthest target, and it was so hyped to watch.
God.
But not okay on a 2-cost. Not okay in general, probably. But it was so fun to watch.
For those of you at home listening to this, imagine Yumi. Basically, is what.
But she looked cool.
But she looked cool. Yeah, but she was just like, there's the backliner. Boom, dead.
And this is a version of that Lucian pattern, much worse than the Lucian version.
Yeah,
but like, there's still a lot of fun there.
It's still a good unit.
So my hot take here is this is better than the Ashes. That's
It's
my
right
hot
around
take.
there for me. So
Yeah.
Like, I think this is right around the above the Varus, below the Tristana. Like, I would reprint this in a heartbeat.
okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, Katarina. This was a weird one. This was ranged Katarina.
So we very late in the development process had a problem with Country in particular, where they were virtually all melee units,
Yep.
and we're like, how do we get a ranged unit in here? Like Thresh theoretically could be, but he's supposed to be a frontline tank. Urgon, it's like, what can we do? Well, I can make Katarina look like she's throwing her knives instead. People were like, oh, we could try it out. No one had any problem with it. I was really surprised there was no negative feedback on it.
Yeah.
And like, would I immediately go back to Katarina and say, yeah, you're the knife thrower? No, I would not. But as far as an interpretive spell goes, that keeps she is an AP damage dealer that has bouncing knives, and like, given how weird she was, the package came together quite well. I just wouldn't look to reprint this.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's probably still like one step we were supposed to take of the way that like bouncing knives like synergized with the kit overall, and
Yep.
there was bits of like hard to follow, bits of awkwardness in traits. So it's like a lot of awkward pieces that end up being fine.
Yeah. All right. I think this is better than Twitch, but worse than Bard.
Sure.
By that.
Okay. But I think it's better than Garen, right? The Garen that you don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So.
For sure.
Pantheon. This was like a solid tank that existed, but like if you asked someone what the kit did, they probably couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it was a little strange. So I believe I made him. So hopefully I remember. Damage reduction for a period of time.
Yep.
And then at the end of it, threw a spear at the 3 people who dealt the most damage to him.
Some amount of them, yeah, because it used to be all of them. Remember, at one point it was all of them,
Yeah.
and it was like you could do some really silly builds that were just like it was like the closest we've ever come to reprinting the old Thornmail Braum,
Right.
and
yeah.
we had to nerf him because it was just like this guy could carry your entire game, which was not okay.
Yeah. I remember that we tried different versions of this that had like based off of the damage he took and all this stuff, and at the end of the day, it was like, no, just damage reduction, deal damage.
Yep.
Would I reprint something close to this again on Pantheon if we needed a tank that put up a shield and then had some damage component outgoing? Probably so. I would prefer to do his like cone spear attack or something, honestly. But if we needed him to have backline access or something,
Yep.
yeah, this fits the bill. I didn't hate this.
I think this is below the Vise, but above Mordekaiser.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Kale. Now, this is cheating because if we talk about launch Kale was a nightmare. But after the rework was fine.
I didn't play much after the rework, unfortunately. And
So the rework was just 100, like, think large amounts of mana, like 140 or something.
Yep.
On auto, doing the little cleave, so it's like on hit. And then when mana bar fills, ultimate.
Do a chunk, yeah. And there was some troubles with how this ended up getting executed visually. It was generally
the visuals. Yeah, I forgot about that.
hard to watch, but something, do this on the right skin or with the right like visual effects treatment, you're totally fine there. And I think overall this Kale ended up being kind of caught between wanting to be more different than like 9 Kale being super memorable, but going different was throwing people off. So like give this Kale 1 or 2 sets of a break, like level up the visuals. I'm like, great, yeah, do this Kale again.
Yeah, for me the launch Kale kind of speaks to that problem of like diffusing the power of the spell over like a longer duration of time that like just doesn't work out. If you'll remember, Viego had the same problem in the set before we like made him a single moment. I just think that it doesn't work in TFT. There's too many units you need to pay attention to at any given time to be able to respect and say, cool, your mana drained. 3 seconds later, I'm going to look at you.
Yeah.
So
I think this is directly below Ionia Slayer Zed, but above Mirage Warrior Yone in C tier. Because while the kit is mechanically okay, the visuals really do hurt it.
Yeah.
this for me is like it would be bottom of C tier basically.
Oh
like
wow,
below.
you'd go that far down.
I didn't like it at all, but wherever we feel.
Okay, we can middle ground it then. How about right below the Blitzcranks above Lesser or Laser Core Yasuo?
Sure.
Okay. True Damage Senna. This one's interesting because like I would never put this spell on Senna ever again, but it fit the set. It fit the set and the skin, and it fit the set and the skin well. I'll give it that.
Yeah. We there was a lot more spells that were like more creative than we would normally kind of push for in a
and
set,
so I give it credit for that.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, it was a spell.
Yeah, it's weird because that makes me want to ballpark it next to the Pizza Siver, but it's certainly not as
No,
like.
but it was a solid spell.
Yeah, it was solider spell, but less really like wow. The theme just like sings to you. So
Yeah, like I think it's better than the Garen from that set, but I think it's worse than Katarina and Bard.
Yeah, for me, this is like right at the bottom of B or top of C, like breakpoint, so somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's. Does it top Garen for top of C?
Yes, I think so.
I can buy that.
Okay. Seraphine KDA. Spell is fine.
Yeah, this is like
It exists. It was fine. It was like a solid spell.
Yeah.
You want to make 2-cost Seraphine? Go for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think this actually is worse than. Oh, that's actually tough. It's worse than Forgotten Thresh, but better than Kiana. It's a solid spell.
Yeah, where are we at?
B tier, low B tier. Yeah. I think it's above Katarina.
I mean, honestly, as far as like support spells that do some damage,
yeah,
goes,
it's good.
Or vice versa. Like this is just kind of like
the bar.
At this point, the good baseline.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
That's where I'm trying to like.
Yeah.
Where does does this go middle of B somewhere then?
It's kind of like around Aphelios for me as well.
Yeah, it's below Aphelios.
Below Heartsteel Aphelios?
Yeah, but not by much.
How about right? We'll just right next to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Nico. This was. Oh, we're on set 11. Okay.
We're on 11.
The helicopter heal drop. I think this one's okay.
So, I appreciate when we do something weird with a champion. This animation is funny. It's unique. It's confusing, but like in a charming way. Gain damage reduction and heal is like two things that are a little overloaded in a singular tank. I feel like oftentimes, but like it functions. She's got a great hero augment. Overall, I'm like, hey, we got to do a Nico spell, and it's got to be different than the ones we've done before. That this did a great job of getting there.
Yeah, I wish it was a 3-cost, not a 2-cost.
Oh, okay, sure.
As far as complexity goes, right? You just like you said it itself is overloaded, but
yeah, and I definitely want to put this in B, kind of echoing. I'd want to give this spell a long break, right? You don't want to suddenly make this what Nico does, but 3 years from now, you're like, Nico's helicoptering again. I'm like, great.
Sure. Yeah, I think this is worse than the Vise, but better than Punk Pantheon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Gnar. We're back to Gnar again, but now he has a convoluted AP scaler that I despise and wish was not on that kit.
Yeah, this is worse than the other two Gnars for me. Yep. And I don't know how much we want to speak to, like, I'm a bit of a stick in the mud when it comes to seeing this splash art and then seeing the actual unit and having them not look anything like each other.
Agree.
So
I don't know. That TFT should be able to use permanently transformed units. Like Gnar is just a frontliner, so we don't have to have him in the back line and then move the front line. But we need to resolve that splash problem when we do that.
Agree.
Yeah.
I think this is right below Garen, but above the cone swains.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like that AP scaler on him, I just wish that didn't exist. That thing is so nonsense. He scales AD for no reason. He has no visual indicator that he's scaling AD whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like you could just cut that from the kit and he'd be a healthy champion. Zyra. So ignoring the power of Zyra for a second, I actually like this. Like for a 2-cost Zyra, I think this is a very, very healthy 2-cost Zyra spell. It's like she shoots flower damage. Cool.
Yeah, no, this is great. I like this a lot. It's got some utility on it. The way the flower, the plants spawn in is right behind her, and so it doesn't clutter the battlefield or anything like that. They die pretty quickly. I'm very happy with this and would happily do this as a Zyra spell.
I think there's better versions of it where it's like she raises 2 flowers, and then after they shoot, one of the flowers sticks around doing a little less so that she could like grow a garden and ramp or something.
Not on a 2 cost though. Wait, you put Aphelios down there because of his turrets.
No, but that's why I'm saying not the same amount of damage, but like there's something about growing a small little garden that could have been fun. But
I would love that on a 3 cost. Or
sure,
higher, probably.
sure. I think it is below the Ashes, but I do think it's above Rakan.
Yeah, sure. It's a good spell.
Yeah, I'm down.
Janna. Okay, hot take. I think this is S tier.
Yeah. For me, it's confidently A at the very least. It's just what we want out of support units at this point in time. So.
Yeah, I think I also wouldn't go S.
Okay.
I think my knock is more. I find this spell a little bit confusing to follow.
Yeah, the little
Yes.
Zephyrs are hard to track. That's true.
Yes.
That's true. How about
But you can-
below? How about below the Annies?
Yeah.
But I think it is better than Swain and Pikes.
Yeah.
Sure.
It doesn't have the staying power that like that Annie spell has definitely been. But like you said, this is what I want supports to be in the future, right? It's like small shield, but when you itemize them, like they do work, right?
Yeah.
Like Janna carries a thing, and that's a good thing for the game.
Yeah. It's like great because like she generates shield, which helps stall out fights. So you're like, oh, Archangel. I can slow down fights, and yeah.
Yep. Okay, speaking of ignoring the power for a second, here's another one I think could be S tier. Kindred.
This is phenomenal. My only concern with her is that I think that by diffusing the power out kind of the way it has, it makes her very difficult to live up to kind of expectations in a way. So like
You're talking about the
hitting
fact you have 2 arrows and one's lower, basically?
Yes.
Yeah.
and I kind of prefer a version of Kindreds that just leap and do a singular nuke.
Yeah, but that's the 3 cost version, right?
Yeah, I get it. I just she is confidently A. I don't know quite S for me, but like this is.
I
a
think
very good
she's
unit.
worse than Blitz, but better than Cybernetic Lucian.
Yes, I think
Yep.
Kindred looks good with this. Like,
Yeah.
she's the best looking unit for this pattern.
Yep.
So.
Agreed.
Kiana.
This does not feel like Kiana. She doesn't do a whole lot interesting.
No.
Her traits aren't like I'm not happy with this at all. It's
Yep.
like not I would actively recommend against reprinting this. I think I'm
this
being
is
too harsh by saying D tier, but like this is not good.
I think this is literally just below Cloud Yasuo.
Yeah, I don't think I was gonna go D tier. There's like and I think my argument is like there's like a 4 cost version of this that has her like throwing multiple blades, but I don't know.
If you wanted her to have like an AoE, I would love to do like a boomerang toss with her or something interpretive. But like weird kicking out like blades that disappear is
It's
like
so weird.
so bizarre for her.
Like, it's not better than Pizza Siver.
Definitely not. Yeah.
Maybe it's better than Oxforce Fiora, maybe, but not really. What do you got here, Whitty?
Yeah, I was somewhere in the bottom, like I might even put her literally at the bottom of C, but
So better than the Jaxes.
yeah, it's
The gatekeepers of
That's what I'm
D.
saying, man.
maybe not.
Those
All right,
Jaxes.
all right, I'm going below Jax.
All right, I like I said, I think it's directly below Cloud Yasuo. Okay.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Teemo. So I'm gonna cheat here. I think this is just a brand reprint. I think it's just S tier because it's a brand reprint.
I do think the visuals of him knock him down. It's harder to follow, but like yes, it is the same basically pattern. He's really fun to play. It's top A for me.
I was about to say, I think it's better. It's worse than Kindred. Better than Kog'Maw, I think.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Riven. I don't have anything nice to say about this Riven.
Now she feels like we have these every set. You are put in to solve problems. You do things that like, oh, you're a bruiser and a frontliner for Storyweaver, you need to heal. Oh, you're an altruist, you need to do damage. It's
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like everyone basically looks at her and goes, she's a tank, right? She's a tank for Storyweaver, but her kit like is nothing remotely like that. And if you try to play her kit the way it's intended, you go 8th.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how low to go here. What a comparable is. It's like no, it's I mean, but it's just worse than Oxforce Fiora.
Yep. I was gonna say it's under Elderwood Hecarim for me. That's kind of my bar. Somewhere below there is where it's at.
I think it might literally be the bottom of C tier. I think it is better than the Jax's, but barely.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Okay, Senna. So this spell is actually fine. Like, it's a fine spell. We've just fixed the fizzles in the latest patch.
Okay.
And the fizzles suck, no question. But like, assuming competent targeting, right? Like, she shoots her ult and kills people. Like, that's fine. That's a fine 2 cost. Yeah, it doesn't hit the back row, which is healthy.
Yeah, because it's 2x's beyond the current target or whatever. That's the right pattern for a line-based unit these days.
Yeah, like, I think this is fine.
Yeah. No, if you're like, hey, I want a 2-cost line caster, cool.
Yep.
The whole positioning.
Oh God, I keep forgetting that she has that stupid buff on her for no reason.
Yeah, I don't like that very much personally. I would rather it be like 2 closest if you were gonna do it, rather than like some because like it's problematic when you say, hey, allies to your left and right get a bonus, but you're a sniper, so you really want to be in the corner.
Yeah.
I'm closer to the like bottom of B, somewhere in the territory of the set 10 stuff, where it's like, sure, this is like parts of this worked, parts of this don't work.
We can fix this. We can do better next time. It's a good baseline, but it didn't quite get.
I think it's worse than set 10 Senna though.
Yeah, and where did we put her?
Top of C. She's literally the very top of C.
Yeah, so bottom of B is fine for me. Like above Tristana.
You're saying lower more, right?
I'm saying she's worse than that, though.
Oh, you're saying she's worse? Oh, okay.
Well, because like you said, the buff part's weird. The fizzles are weird.
Well, we're fixing the fizzles, but
yeah. Is she better than Garen to you?
Yes.
Okay.
I just don't like Garen, though, so.
Witty?
Yeah, I would put below Garen, but I also think I like Garen a little more. So.
All right, I'm going to put her directly below Garen.
Cool.
So, Shen, he's back, but different and flat damage.
So,
but at least he wants items.
I like flat damage reduction as an alternative option for characters in a set.
Yep.
For tanks. Don't do it, please, when multiple 4-cost carries do small instances of damage.
Oh God, yeah, like freaking Syndra and Kaisa
and Ashe and Kaisa are all hard countered by a 2-cost.
Yeah.
Is really, really rough on the set.
Yeah.
And I think is massively contributing to problems. So I think we can do a spell like this again, but it needs to like be really smart about when it's used.
Yep. Yeah, we've had a couple of those lately where it's like a Kali spell was great, except Karthus existed. Like
exactly.
We have a spell in isolation that's fine. But yeah,
I'm also a little sus on this, like also going to ally. I also rarely like flat damage reduction. I like it when it's just on one unit for
like
a
Leona
period of time.
Yeah.
I do like his hero augment a lot, though. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, I went with that today. I think this is worse than the Blitzcranks, but better than Kassadin.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Worse than Laser Core Yasuo.
Yeah.
Okay. 3 more. Lux. So this is strictly, we have that Lux that's at like the bottom of B tier. Where's that Lux? Where'd she go?
Astrolux above Jinx.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but like this is worse because the stun did not need to be added on a 2-cost. That's how I feel.
I mean, so Arcanist CC, you've got Lysandra.
Yeah, it's fair.
I understand its purpose. I do think I end up being a little frustrated by like furthest target plus the first 2 matter rather than like longest line, or like there's something about this that feels more inconsistent than it should, given I don't enjoy playing against this.
Right. It's very frustrating
enjoy playing as this, but I understand conceptually all the pieces, and so I think there's tweaks that probably just would need to be made to this to have it function the way we want it to.
Yeah, the big thing too is like when it gets going infinite, it's very frustrating. Like I don't know if you faced the like 6 porcelain Ginsu. I mean, you were the one who posted the screenshot, right? Where you like destroyed a 3-star 4-cost because it couldn't move. Like
yeah, because it was two Lissandras, one with Mana Zane and a rapid fire Shojin Lux is like, okay, you can't move, you can't play anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
This kind of spell with all the other restrictions too gets torn between wanting to be an expensive spell so that it doesn't go infinite like that, but if it's an expensive spell, it just
It has to nuke
stops.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, then does a bajillion damage.
So
And
then
you
why
feel
is it
awful when
stunning?
it stuns two front like tanks
Yeah.
or whatever. Like there's a, it's not a great package.
All right. To simplify it, because the traits are conflating it, I'll just put it right below the other Lux.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Yorick. All right. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of with you. Like, I couldn't tell you what the spell does other than like drains people.
That's
Yeah.
what it does. But
Yeah.
but it doesn't. The drain doesn't scale with AP. Just the damage does, which means there's no dream for him. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There is nothing you can do to Yorick to make him an exciting champion itemization wise, and that's a huge bummer. It actually reminds me a lot of Gragas, who had the same problem.
Yep.
Where we said, no, you can't scale the thing you want to scale with AP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, I don't want to do anything then.
Go ahead, Wee.
In concept, this wants to be what Garen is, but on a champion where it makes a little bit more sense thematically.
Yeah.
But diffusing it, having it harder to see visually, the scaling stuff, like all of that makes it worse than Garen, I think.
Yep.
Yep.
I'm gonna put this. Go ahead.
Great thematics,
Yeah.
but mechanically we didn't land there.
I think this goes as low as like below Star Guardian Rel, above Hellion Kennen.
Sure.
All right, and then last one, Aatrox. This is another one that like he reminds me of Riven, where it's just like he exists and has traits.
We've been talking a lot about frontliners and how to make them like not just a thing that is a sack of HP with some amount of healing or whatever and damage. Like they have the exact same problems. Unappreciable. You really don't ever want to itemize them. They're not fun to watch.
I mean, he's supposed to be a damage dealer. He's not supposed to be a tank. Yeah, and that's what I'm
Yes, but,
saying.
like-
He reminds me of Riven in that regard, right? It's
Yeah.
like nobody looks at him like that. Nobody's putting Titans BT on their Aatrox.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you get lucky gloves and you put it on this champ and you're like, why am I getting BT and Titans?
It's interesting because in Ink Shadow, assuming like you wanted to build up a character right now, it's Volibear. Like Volibear does everything Aatrox does, but better.
Yep.
So he's what is
And Shen does everything in Ghostly better. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
rough stuff. So
Yeah.
he's right next to Riven for me.
Yeah, I think he's literally just above Riven. Because at
Yeah.
least like I don't know. I don't know why, but he just feels a little bit better than Riven. But
No,
I think visually he's more satisfying.
I
yeah.
do agree with that.
that's fair. Okay, we did it. So 2 costs. We said we were going to be hard on ourselves here, and there are only 4 basically S tiers. Lucian with set 1, and we have not recreated since. Darius set 2, and then Braum set like 4 and 5, and Brand set 5. So
4 and 7, yeah.
yeah, A-Bomb was
4 and 7 for Braum.
Oh,
5
for guard.
Brand.
Yeah. Okay. So we have not really crushed 2 costs lately. Though, to be fair, I did try to argue for Kindred, Teemo, and Janna. A tier, we've got some decent chunks to work with here. But yeah, like, I feel like if Ashe is the top of B tier, like, you could tell me Ashe is A tier. I could see Ashe moving up to A tier.
Yeah.
I'm going to move the 4 Ashes to A tier. I do think Zyra is, like, the top of B tier, though. I don't think she's A tier.
That's fair.
Blitzcrank being the top of A tier makes sense. And then a lot of B tier, a lot of C tier, and at least not too many D tier. But like this kind of shows you some of the struggles of like what it takes to make a good 2 cost, and like, you know, we clearly have tried a bunch of things, but it's like sometimes they're overloaded, sometimes they're just not quite visually too, you know. So
It's a lot of difficult things to balance on them, from power to complexity to their role in the set. Like
yeah.
when one shines, it's usually at the cost of others. So
Yeah. Witty, any thoughts as you look at this list?
Yeah, and the other bad news is a lot of the stuff that bubbled to the top was like variations on the same pattern, like stuff that you can't do more than one of in a set.
Yeah.
So it's and the stuff that's at the bottom are like, yeah, this ended up being the one that was trying to be different than all the other ones, but that's just the bad
Yep.
kit relatively. So yeah, there's some definite need to keep finding. I actually think the biggest takeaway for me is the more like Tristana, Heartsteel, Aphelios. Like, oh, there's just some like chunky AD big
Yep.
shot pattern that we've actually not done very much, and probably just could be in nearly every set.
Yeah, something I feel like we've been under indexing on is like it's okay for a champion to auto attack a bunch and then only cast their spell rarely. That's why I like Heartsteel Aphelios a lot. Like he was basically an auto attacker. That spell could miss and you basically didn't care, but it still costs like 140 mana. Whereas right now it feels like we have so many 60, 75 mana spells that are just like constantly going off.
Yeah.
So, which is fine for like the Kindreds and Lucians of the world, but like I kind of want more of the like 90 and 105 mana spells that don't miss. I really don't want them missing though, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think Zyra might be the closest. Like, if you told me Zyra's mana was like 90 instead of 60, but the plants lasted another 6 seconds or something, I'd be like, okay, great. So, cool. All right, well, there you go. 2 costs. It only took us, I don't know, what's the clock say here?
4 hours?
Oh, God, it really is 4 hours. Jesus.
Right on time.
Right on time. Perfect. All right. So, Witty, Giovanni, thank you. And hopefully before July, we can do the 3 costs. We'll have to find another weekend here, but this will be good. And honestly, we'll use this stuff internally too. So it's nice to review the work and check.
Yeah.
Cool. Giovanni, any closing thoughts on your end?
No, I mean, this is great to do. And I think that the 2 costs we knew going in would be one of the hardest to evaluate. So I'm not surprised it took us a while, and I'm not surprised at these results because historically we haven't been super happy with them. But I'm always happy to go through this list and kind of go down both memory lane and talk about like learnings and what we changed and all this kind of stuff. So
I feel like when we do the 5 cost list, it's gonna take like an hour. We're just gonna like crush it. It's gonna be like good, bad, good, great, done. All right, Witty, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, no, this is also like super valuable trying to remember all this stuff, make sure we're talking about it, and hopefully this, I don't know, whoever was watching this video in 10 years when TFT is still going strong and you're trying to figure out what insane things the team thought a decade ago. Hopefully this holds up.
They thought Braum was good? What? Those crazy bastards. Nice. All right, cool. Well, there you go. Hopefully, if you got through this all the way, by the way, props to you for caring about TFT so much. Players like you that are willing to watch this and care about the game this much are why we do what we do. This is crazy. So.
I think this is perfect, like podcast material. You're playing TFT, you leave it up on the side and just kind of listen and look over on occasion.
Yeah. I hope so. That we don't have to see all the silly facial reactions we make too. So. All right, cool. Well, that's going to do it from us. We're going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Until Dev Hour number 3, take it easy.